My project is on Les Mis. This was directed by Tom Hooper, who was taught at Westminster, one of Britain's lead schools. His first film was Runaway Canine, which was filmed and directed by him at the age of 13. He used a 16mm Bolex camera and utilized 100 feet of film. At age 18, he composed, directed, and delivered a short film called Painted Appearances, 1992, which debuted in the London Film Celebration. It was also delivered and produced on Channel 4. After attending Westminster, Tom Hooper decided to attend Oxford College, where he also directed and produced other theater creations, featuring his peers Kate Beckinsale and Emily Mortimer. His father was a non-executive chief at Joyn News and Media, which claimed an ITV channel itself. Other films directed by Mr. Hooper would be Cats, which was debuted in 2019 and is also his most recent film to be published and released, another cinematic musical with many all-star cast members, but did not fare too well in the open market. A list of other films that were produced and directed by him would be The Damned United, The Danish Girl, The King's Speech, Longford, and Red Dust, a 2004 film. The first character I'm going to talk about is Jean Valjean. He began the film as a convict, but he is a good-hearted man by the end of the movie, who made some poor life decisions. He brings redemption to the whole story. He turns his Scrooge-like life around as he takes Cosette under his care on his wing, and she is able to warm his heart and show him what it's like to be loved and share his feelings of love. This redirects him as a character and makes him seem a new man in the eyes of the public in the movie. About this actor. This character was played by Hugh Jackman. Hugh Jackman was born in 1968 in Sydney, Australia. He is best known for his role as Wolverine in the X-Men film franchise. In addition to reprising the role through numerous prequels, sequels, and spin-offs, Jackman has starred in such films as The Prestige, 2006, The Greatest Showman, 2017, and garnered an Oscar nomination for his contributions to this play. In 2008, Mr. Jackman was also named Sexiest Man Alive by People magazine. On December 13th, 2012, Jackman was awarded a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Showing his self-deprecating wit, the actor stated, "I believe this is the 2,487th star on the Walk of Fame. However, apart from Lassie, I'm the only one who's gotten it for playing the same character in 15 movies." Mr. Jackman has been married since 1996 to fellow actress Deborah Lee Furness. They live in Melbourne, Australia, with their 2 adopted children. The second actor and character is going to be Inspector Javert, a very determined and religious man that does his best to uphold man's law as well as God's law throughout the struggles depicted in the film. His strong morals are what he holds most dear, and at the point where he breaks his morals, he mentally appears to break as he swan dives into the water. During the movie, he appears to have a one-track mind as he pursues Jean Valjean. This character is played by Russell Crowe, who was born in Wellington, New Zealand in 1964. He won an Academy Award for his role in the movie Gladiator. He was born to a pair of television set caterers and made his set appearance at the age of 6 in the movie Spy Force. After a not-so-successful music career, Crowe returned to New Zealand to pursue an acting career. His career did not fully take off until 1997 in LA Confidential. From there, his career has budded and matured as he has expanded his knowledge of the film industry and even tried his hand at featured film directing in The Water Diviner, a 2014 film. The third and final character we're going to review is Fantine. A malnourished, jobless Fantine digresses to a life of prostitution and petty crimes. She's a dreamer, hopeless romantic about life that ultimately ends up underperforming and never being good enough, not being able to provide for her daughter. Although she holds her daughter first in every aspect of her life and truly makes Fantine appear selfless, Fantine brings the essence of forgiveness and hope as she helps to set the scene for the rest of the movie, though her shortened part in the beginning. Fantine was played by Anne Hathaway, who was born the daughter of an actress and a lawyer. She was active in her school theater up until she graduated high school in 2000 and began to pursue work in the film and theater industries. She's been active in the industry since she was 16 years old as a professional, and is well known for her versatility in being able to go from fairy tale-like children's roles to adult-oriented roles. In addition to her acting, her singing was noticed in 1999 in Carnegie Hall as part of an honors course that helped her make her way into the big leagues and take a New York stage debut in the musical Carnival in 2002. The playwright for this film, or for the original play, was Victor Hugo, who was born in France in 1802 and passed in 1885. Mr. Hugo was born the third son of a major in Napoleon's army. During his early life, he was, however, closer to his mother and her royalist ideals rather than his father's loyalist ideals. His midlife, the safeguard opportunity, and the religion of a romanticized Napoleon in such sonnets as the Tribute à la Colonel carried Hugo into contact with the liberal gathering of authors in the paper Le Globe, and his advance toward progressivism was reinforced by the French Lord Charles X's limitations on the freedom of the press, just as by the edicts forbidding the stage execution of his play Marion de Lorme, which depicts the personality of Louis XIII ominously. He was exiled with the Revolution of 1848. Hugo was chosen as a representative for Paris in the Constituent Assembly and later in the Legislative Assembly. He upheld the effective appointment of Prince Louis Napoleon for the administration that year. The more the president developed toward a dictatorship of the right in any case, the more Hugo advanced toward the gathering's left. When in December 1851 an overthrow occurred, which ultimately brought about the Second Empire under Napoleon III, Hugo took a stab at obstruction and afterward fled to Brussels, causing his exile. During his late years, the defeat of France in the Franco-German War and the announcement of the Third Republic in 1871 took Hugo and gave him his chance to go back to Paris. He turned into a delegate in the National Assembly in 1871, however surrendered the next month, despite the fact that he actually battled for his old goals. He did not at this point have similar energies. The preliminaries of ongoing years had matured him, and there were more to come. In 1868 he had lost his better half, Adele, a significant pity to him. In 1871, one of his children passed, as did another in 1873. In spite of the fact that undeniably withdrew him from the life around him and his family as a whole, he described the attack of Paris during the awful year of 1870 and had become a public legend and a living image of republicanism in France. The historical context around Les Mis is based around the June Rebellion of 1832. It was an uprising in Paris against the rule of King Louis Philippe, fueled by economic hardship and a cholera epidemic. This is contrary to the popular view that Les Mis is based around the French Revolution, which actually occurred in 1789. The death of General Jean-Maximilien Lamarck was the spark that lit the fire that previous issues, such as the cholera outbreak in the spring. The 30-year-old Victor Hugo was nearby writing a play when he heard gunfire. Instead of going home to safety, he followed the sounds of the gunfire through the deserted streets. According to Wikipedia, Hugo was about halfway down an alley, and the grills at either end were slammed shut. Hugo was surrounded by barricades and flung himself against the wall, as all the shops and stores had been closed for some time now. He found shelter between some columns, and for a quarter of an hour bullets flew both ways, whizzing past his body and his head. Using his own personal experience, Hugo was able to paint the scene and the story that developed into Les Mis.